Alright, so this is going to be the first part of the video on how to put these custom Air Canada Olympic mural decal things onto this existing Hogan Wings Air Canada 777-300. And we are now going to have to cut these out. This is the first step before we can put them on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out these white outlines of these murals first, so that because the plane isn't a base color white type thing, these ones you won't see any white parts on them, and there is a few white parts, so we're going to have to cut these out to put them on as a separate layer first, and then we will deal with those. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to use some nice sharp scissors here, and decent X-Acto knife here, the sharp blade, because it's got some pretty intricate parts up here, especially near the doors, so we're going to need to cut all that out. So to make your lives easier, because this is probably sounding impossible to cut this out perfectly, I've outlined everything in sort of a Air Canada blue, so if you can't cut it out perfectly, which few people probably will, then it's not going to show up too much, and it's better to err on the side of cutting on the inside and having less white than cutting on the outside of those lines. So let's begin that. Alright, so the first thing that I've done is I've taken the white mural of this one here with the sort of amputee looking cross-country skier and the hockey player, and I've just sort of relatively roughly cut around the outside of this of the first blue the blue outline, and along this curved bit here, that's going to go where the wing root is, and you need to cut that pretty exactly because it's going to need to conform pretty well. So now we're going to go around with the X-Acto knife and we're going to cut off as much of the blue stuff along the outside as we can. Alright, so now I've just cut out the main outer outline and cut all that stuff off, but in the inside here, you see this door right here. We're going to need that, but not along the outside. Same with this, and that in here and in there needs to come out, along with there, and I think that's about it. There may be a few other white parts along here. I think down on this edge there's one. Any white parts you cut off, keep them if you want. Actually, you know what, this one down there you don't really need because it's pretty dark there, so you won't really need a white background, so you just cut that off if you want. Yep, so now we're going to cut out the middles. Alright, so now we cut out all the little bits, like between the skier's pole and between the hockey player there, and between all these other little things. And we've cut out the doors, so there are now loose pieces there, so we're going to hold on to that. And now you're basically just going to kind of repeat that process with all of the other white parts. So you're just going to kind of do that to all there. Some things like these birds kind of thing off, like those, you may or may not want to bother cutting all those out. They're just there, so it all depends on how much work you want to put into it. I don't think I'm going to cut those out, but if you want to, you can. Alright, so I have now finally cut out all the little white pieces of those, and all their little tiny bits I have taped to the inside of the bag so that I don't lose them, and I have also labeled where they go. So you might also want to do that as you're cutting them out. So now we're going to have to cut out the color parts, which are a lot easier because you don't need to cut them out quite exactly, but you should still cut them out pretty close. And yep, so I've cut out the Vancouver 2010 things. Next I'll probably cut out the registration, and I'll work my way from there. Probably those will be next, and actually maybe I'll cut out the murals at some point too. In the meantime, my little sister Rachel here is working on cutting out those little birds up here that I chose to not put on. How's that going, Rachel? You're an idiot. Alright, so now I've cut out the skier mural thing, and as you can see with all the kind of the blue around it, I didn't cut it out very closely, but that's okay because this is on a clear film, so it's not really going to show up that well. So you don't need to worry about cutting it too closely. However, one thing you should do is you should cut out the door around this door here so that that door is on a separate piece, because the white part there is loose, so it's going to be really hard to line that up perfectly. So to make things easier for yourself, you should cut that out separately as well. Alright, so there, we've cut out that piece now to make our lives easier, and Rachel here has made a turtle out of my leftover white decal paper. I don't know what she's gonna do with it, but she'll think it's something, I'm sure. She'll stick it to her window or something. Alright, so now that we got all the decals all cut out, we're gonna put them on here. So the first thing is we don't really need to put anything on the wings or anything, so we're just gonna take them off and give ourselves a bigger working area, because mine right here is not exactly huge.